Bilkul awise by Red Heart main apki script ko same length or same flow me rewrite kar hoon meaning Bilkul same, bas wording fresh, powerful or clean, yeah rehi apki rewritten script. Part 1 The courtroom inside Miami federal court dropped into a chilling silence the moment 5 framed photographs were placed on easels, facing the jury. Thomas Morrison, 52, smiling warmly with his arm wrapped around his wife. Jennifer Morrison, 49, laughing during a family dinner. Emma Morrison, 19, wearing her college graduation gown. Michael Morrison, 16, proudly holding a soccer trophy. Daniel Morrison, 14, grinning as he held up his first fish. A family, now spoken of only in past tense, because all 5 of them were dead. Their bodies had been recovered from the Atlantic Ocean, 12 miles off the Florida coast. They had drowned after the yacht they purchased just 3 weeks earlier shattered apart and sank within 4 minutes on what was supposed to be the vacation of their lifetime. Across the courtroom sat Christopher Vanderbilt, 43, a luxury yacht broker and the owner of Prestige Maritime Group. He wore a custom Brioni suit worth $9,200, Hermes loafers priced at $850, and a Richard Mille watch valued at $340,000. His skin was perfectly tanned, his hair salon-styled, his nails neatly manicured. Everything about him radiated money, status, and arrogance. He casually scrolled through his phone, smirking every few seconds, as if the 5 dead faces in those photographs were nothing more than an inconvenience slowing down his day. Behind him sat 9 attorneys from Blackstone Legal Partners, an elite law firm known for defending high-net-worth clients in wrongful death cases. Their lead counsel, Harrison Blackstone, billed $3,200 per hour and had built a reputation for getting wealthy men cleared of almost anything. But today, they were about to face Judge Frank Caprio, specially assigned to this federal case due to its complexity and the intense public attention surrounding it. Before we reveal what unfolded in that courtroom, if you believe in justice and want to support a new channel dedicated to sharing these powerful stories, hit the subscribe button and like this video. Every subscription helps us bring more of Judge Caprio's wisdom to light. Judge Caprio entered, and everyone rose. At 79 years old, with 37 years on the bench, he had overseen countless wrongful death cases, but the file placed before him, case number 2024 FD 3891, had kept him awake for 3 straight nights. 5 lives. 3 children, all gone, because of greed. This court is now in session, he said quietly, his eyes moving from the photographs to Vanderbilt, case number 2024 FD 3891, the United States versus Christopher Vanderbilt. Mr. Vanderbilt is charged with 5 counts of second-degree murder, fraud, falsification of maritime safety documents, and criminal negligence resulting in death. Harrison Blackstone stood instantly. Your Honor, my client Christopher Vanderbilt is one of the most successful yacht brokers in South Florida. His company, Prestige Maritime Group, generates $180 million in annual sales. He has sold yachts to celebrities, executives, and international clients. This prosecution is a tragic overreach. The Morrison family's deaths were a heartbreaking accident, but accidents happen at sea. Boating carries inherent risks. The Morrisons signed a comprehensive liability waiver acknowledging these risks. My client cannot be held criminally responsible for an act of God. Judge Caprio's jaw tightened. Mr. Blackstone, 5 people are dead. The prosecution claims your client knowingly sold them a defective vessel. That is not an act of God. The prosecution will claim many things, Your Honor, Blackstone replied. We will prove them false. We'll see, Caprio said coldly, then he turned slightly. Ms. Rodriguez, you may present the government's case. Federal prosecutor Maria Rodriguez stood, her face serious and controlled. Your Honor, on April 3rd of this year, Dr. Thomas Morrison purchased a 45-foot Meridian yacht from Christopher Vanderbilt for $680,000. Dr. Morrison was a successful dentist from Atlanta. He worked for 30 years, saved carefully, and finally had enough money to buy the boat he had dreamed of owning for his family. He was excited. His wife Jennifer had always wanted to learn sailing. His daughter Emma was preparing to start medical school. His sons, Michael and Daniel, loved the ocean. This yacht represented years of dreams and decades of sacrifice. She lifted a stack of documents. Dr. Morrison did his due diligence. He asked Mr. Vanderbilt if the yacht had any structural issues, any history of problems, or any concerns. Mr. Vanderbilt assured him the yacht was in excellent condition. He provided what appeared to be a recent marine survey, a professional inspection report stating the vessel was seaworthy and safe. Based on these assurances, Dr. Morrison purchased the yacht. On May 18th, the Morrison family took their maiden voyage. It was a beautiful Saturday morning. They were 12 miles offshore when the hull catastrophically failed. The yacht broke apart and sank in 4 minutes. All 5 family members drowned. The courtroom remained silent, except for muffled sobs from the gallery, where extended Morrison relatives sat trembling. The Coast Guard recovered their bodies over the next 3 days. Rodriguez continued. Dr. Morrison was found still holding his youngest son, Daniel. They drowned together, a father clutching his child as the ocean swallowed them both. Then her voice hardened. Little did anyone know what Christopher Vanderbilt already knew about that yacht. Your Honor, our investigation revealed that Christopher Vanderbilt knew the vessel was defective. 6 months before he sold it to Dr. Morrison, a previous potential buyer commissioned an independent marine survey. That survey was conducted by certified marine surveyor Richard Chen. And it found extensive structural cracks in the hull. Mr. Chen's report stated, and I quote, "This vessel has catastrophic structural defects. The hull shows multiple stress fractures that could result in complete failure. This yacht is unsafe for ocean travel and should not be used until repairs costing approximately $85,000 are completed." Rodriguez looked directly at the jury. Mr. Vanderbilt received that report. He knew this yacht was a floating death trap. But $85,000 in repairs would have cut deeply into his profit margin, so instead of fixing the yacht, or warning the buyers, he chose another option. She raised another document. He paid $5,000 to a fraudulent document service to create a fake marine survey report. This fake report was dated 2 weeks before the sale and claimed the yacht was in excellent condition, with no structural issues. This is the report he showed Dr. Morrison. The courtroom gasped. Christopher Vanderbilt shifted in his seat but still tried to maintain his bored, detached expression. Rodriguez's voice sharpened. Mr. Vanderbilt knowingly sold a defective yacht, with falsified safety documents, to an innocent family. He traded 5 human lives, for $85,000 in repair costs that would have reduced his commission. If Judge Caprio's compassion moves you the way it moves millions of others, show your support by subscribing to our channel. We're just starting out, and your subscription truly means everything. Then Judge Caprio leaned forward, his voice sharp like ice. Mr. Vanderbilt, did you know about the structural defects before you sold this yacht to the Morrison family? Vanderbilt stood slowly, wearing the expression of practiced innocence. Your Honor, the yacht business involves multiple inspections and reports. I may have seen a report mentioning minor cosmetic issues, but nothing that suggested serious safety concerns. The yacht had been on the market for months with no problems. You may have seen a report? Caprio repeated, his voice rising. Mr. Chen's report stated the yacht could catastrophically fail. That is not a minor cosmetic issue. Vanderbilt shrugged slightly. Your Honor, marine surveyors often exaggerate to protect themselves legally. Every surveyor finds something wrong to justify their fees. I've been in this business for 20 years. If I refused to sell every yacht that had a surveyor's concern, I'd never sell anything. Maria Rodriguez stood again. Your Honor, we have emails between Mr. Vanderbilt and the fraudulent document service. May I read them? Caprio nodded, his face darkening. Rodriguez read aloud. On March 7th, Mr. Vanderbilt wrote to a company called Maritime Documents Plus. I need a clean survey report for a Meridian 45-footer. Previous survey was too negative. Buyer wants to see recent inspection showing no issues. Can you provide? We'll pay $5,000 for rush service. The company responded, we can provide a report showing excellent condition. Send us the yacht details and desired date. Report will be delivered in 48 hours. Mr. Vanderbilt replied, perfect. Make it look professional. Include photos from the yacht listing. Dated March 20th. Buyer is a doctor from out of state. Won't know the difference. The courtroom exploded. Morrison family members shouted from the gallery. Vanderbilt's face turned red. Order. Judge Caprio slammed his gavel. When silence finally returned, Caprio stared at Vanderbilt with open disgust. You wrote. Buyer won't know the difference. Bilkul Wise by Red Heart Main Naapki is next part. KO same length, same intensity, or same courtroom drama style main rewrite car dia high. Meaning Bilkul same high, deus wording fresh or Zayata powerful. Raha rewritten script. Part 2. You specifically targeted Dr. Morrison because he was from out of state and wouldn't verify the documents, Judge Caprio said, his voice cutting through the courtroom. Vanderbilt lifted his chin. That email is being taken out of context. Caprio's eyes narrowed. What context makes that acceptable? You paid for a fake safety report to sell a death trap to a family. Vanderbilt didn't flinch. Your Honor, the yacht business operates on caveat emptor, buyer beware. Dr. Morrison could have commissioned his own independent survey. He chose not to. That isn't my responsibility. Caprio leaned forward. You gave him a fraudulent survey report. How was he supposed to know it was fake? Vanderbilt shrugged, as if discussing a parking ticket. He should have verified it. Due diligence is the buyer's responsibility. At that moment, Robert Morrison, Thomas's brother, exploded from the gallery. He lunged toward Vanderbilt, screaming, you murdered them. You murdered my brother and his entire family. Bailiffs tackled him instantly as the courtroom erupted into chaos. Order. Caprio shouted, slamming his gavel. The sound echoed like gunfire. Everyone sit down. Now. When silence finally returned, Caprio's hands were visibly trembling. Mr. Vanderbilt, 5 people trusted you. You gave them a fake safety report and sent them to their deaths. And now you're claiming it's their fault, for trusting you? Vanderbilt's tone remained cold. Your Honor, the ocean is inherently dangerous. Boating accidents happen. The Morrisons signed a liability waiver. Caprio's voice turned sharp. A liability waiver does not protect you from murder. You knowingly sold them a defective yacht. Maria Rodriguez stood again, her eyes blazing. There's more, Your Honor. We also need to discuss where Mr. Vanderbilt was on May 18th, the day the Morrison family drowned. She pulled out her phone. On May 18th, Christopher Vanderbilt was in Cannes, France, attending the Cannes Film Festival. He was at an exclusive yacht party on a 200-foot mega yacht owned by a Russian oligarch. She turned to the screen. Instagram posts appeared for the entire courtroom to see. At 11:47 a.m. Eastern Time, approximately when the Morrison yacht was breaking apart and the family was drowning, Mr. Vanderbilt posted this to his Instagram story. The image showed Vanderbilt in white linen, holding a champagne flute, surrounded by bikini-clad models on a luxury yacht deck. The caption read, "Living the dream at Cannes. Champagne, sunshine, and beautiful people. This is what success looks like. Hashtag yacht life, hashtag Cannes Film Festival, hashtag luxury broker." The courtroom went silent. The contrast was sickening. Vanderbilt was celebrating in France while 5 people he had deceived were fighting for their lives 12 miles offshore. Rodriguez continued. At 2:33 p.m. Eastern, approximately when the Coast Guard was recovering the first body, Mr. Vanderbilt posted this. Another photo appeared of Vanderbilt laughing with 3 women. Caviar and champagne on the table. Caption, another successful year. $680,000 sale closed last month. Commission well spent. Work hard, play harder. Several people in the gallery began openly crying. Judge Caprio's face turned pale. Rodriguez swallowed hard. At 6:15 p.m., while Dr. Morrison's body was being identified at the morgue, Mr. Vanderbilt posted this. The screen displayed another photo of Vanderbilt in a tuxedo at a film premiere party. Caption, Can nightlife is unmatched. When you're at the top of your game, every day is a celebration. Rodriguez's voice trembled with rage. Your Honor, while the Morrison family was dying because of his fraud, Christopher Vanderbilt was posting champagne photos and bragging about the commission he made from their deaths. The courtroom sat frozen. Then Rodriguez stepped forward again, and what the government uncovered next shocked everyone. We also obtained Mr. Vanderbilt's private text messages, she continued. On May 19th, one day after the drowning, Mr. Vanderbilt received a text from an associate. The words appeared on the screen. Associate heard about the yacht that sank off Florida. That wasn't one of yours, was it? Vanderbilt's reply followed. Vanderbilt, yeah, that was the Meridian I sold in April. Whole family died apparently. Terrible tragedy, but I had them sign all the waivers. My lawyer says I'm covered. Insurance will pay out the estate. Won't affect my business. A gasp swept through the courtroom. The associate replied, Jesus, Chris, 5 people died. Vanderbilt responded, I know it sucks, but that's why we have liability waivers. Ocean is dangerous. Not my fault they didn't know how to handle the boat. The courtroom erupted again. People screamed. Robert Morrison broke free from the bailiff's grip, and it took 3 officers to restrain him. Judge Caprio slammed the gavel repeatedly. This court is adjourned for 15 minutes. Everyone calm down, or I will clear the gallery. When court resumed, Judge Caprio returned with a face like stone, barely controlled rage behind his eyes. He stared directly at Vanderbilt. Mr. Vanderbilt, you texted that 5 deaths were terrible, but you were covered by waivers. You showed no remorse. No grief. No responsibility. Just relief that you wouldn't be held liable. Vanderbilt cleared his throat. Your Honor, that text was private. I was in shock. Caprio's eyes flashed. You were in shock, while drinking champagne in Cannes? Maria Rodriguez stood once more. Your Honor, we also have testimony from Richard Chen, the certified marine surveyor who conducted the original inspection. A man in his 60s rose from the gallery. Your Honor, he said firmly, my name is Richard Chen. I've been a certified marine surveyor for 34 years. In October of last year, I inspected the Meridian yacht at the request of a potential buyer. What I found was one of the most dangerous vessels I have ever surveyed. The hull had multiple stress fractures radiating from the keel. These weren't minor cracks. These were deep structural failures that compromised the integrity of the entire vessel. I told the buyer this yacht should not be in the water until extensive repairs were completed. I estimated a minimum of $85,000 in repairs. The buyer walked away immediately. Chen paused. I sent my report to the yacht's owner and to Prestige Maritime Group, Mr. Vanderbilt's company. I specifically called Mr. Vanderbilt's office and spoke with him directly. I told him this yacht was unsafe and should not be sold without full disclosure of the defects. Judge Caprio leaned forward. What did Mr. Vanderbilt say? Chen's jaw tightened. He told me I was being overly cautious. He said minor hull cracks were normal and didn't affect seaworthiness. He said if he disclosed every issue, he'd never sell anything. I warned him this wasn't minor. This was catastrophic. He thanked me for my concern and hung up. The courtroom was dead silent. Chen continued. 3 months later, I saw that yacht listed for sale on Prestige Maritime's website. The listing claimed it had been recently surveyed with excellent results. I called Mr. Vanderbilt again. I reminded him of my report. He told me he had obtained a second opinion that disagreed with my findings. When I asked to see that second opinion, he said it was confidential client information. Rodriguez stepped forward. That second opinion was the fake report, Your Honor. We verified that no legitimate surveyor inspected that yacht after Mr. Chen's report. The only second opinion was the fraudulent document Mr. Vanderbilt purchased. Judge Caprio stood, papers shaking in his hands. Mr. Vanderbilt, a certified marine surveyor with 34 years of experience, warned you this yacht could catastrophically fail. You ignored him. You sold it anyway. You falsified documents, and 5 people died exactly the way Mr. Chen predicted. For the first time, Vanderbilt's composure cracked. He stood, voice rising defensively. Your Honor, I run a business. I can't be responsible for every surveyor's opinion. Chen is overly cautious. He finds problems with everything. I got a second opinion that said the yacht was fine. Caprio's voice thundered. You paid $5,000 for a fake report. Vanderbilt snapped back. I got a report that showed the yacht was safe. How was I supposed to know it was wrong? Bilkul Awais by Red Heart Mainini is full final part KOB same length, same emotion, same courtroom intensity Kasoth rewrite cardia high. Meaning Bilkul same high, bias wording polished, cleaner cinematic flomy, raha rewritten script, final part because you commissioned it from a fraudulent service, Judge Caprio snapped, his voice trembling with rage. You knew it was fake, because you paid to have it faked. Vanderbilt tried again, desperate to sound reasonable. Your Honor, Dr. Morrison should have commissioned his own survey. Buyer beware is a fundamental principle. I provided a survey report. Whether he verified it was his responsibility. Caprio's eyes narrowed. You provided a fraudulent report specifically designed to deceive him. Vanderbilt opened his hands. He signed a waiver acknowledging voting risks. Caprio's voice rose. A waiver doesn't protect you from murder. You knowingly sent an entire family onto a death trap. Maria Rodriguez stood again. Your Honor, there is one more thing. We need to discuss Mr. Vanderbilt's history. This is not the first time he has sold defective vessels. She pulled out another stack of documents. In 2019, Mr. Vanderbilt sold a yacht that caught fire just 2 weeks later due to faulty wiring he had been informed about. The owner suffered severe burns. Mr. Vanderbilt settled out of court for an undisclosed amount, with a non-disclosure agreement. In 2021, he sold a yacht with a defective fuel system that had been noted in an inspection report. That yacht exploded at a marina, injuring 3 people. Again, he settled. Again, under NDAs. In 2022, he sold a yacht with documented structural damage. That vessel took on water and sank. Fortunately, no one died. Another settlement. Another NDA. Rodriguez's voice grew sharper. Mr. Vanderbilt has a pattern of selling defective yachts, concealing problems, falsifying documents, and then using settlements and NDAs to bury the evidence. The Morrison family is simply the first time people died before he could make the problem disappear with money. Judge Caprio sat down heavily, as if the weight of the case had finally landed on his shoulders. Then he looked directly at Vanderbilt. Mr. Vanderbilt, you've been doing this for years. Selling dangerous yachts. Hiding defects. Paying off victims. And you kept doing it because it was profitable. He paused, voice low and deadly. In my 37 years on this bench, I've seen greed. I've seen negligence. But you didn't simply fail to protect safety, you actively concealed deadly defects. You falsified documents. You turned yacht sales into murder for profit. Caprio straightened. Here is my ruling. The courtroom held its breath. Christopher Vanderbilt, you are found guilty on all counts. 5 counts of second-degree murder, 1 for each member of the Morrison family whose deaths you caused through your knowing and reckless conduct. You are found guilty of fraud, falsification of maritime safety documents, and criminal negligence resulting in death. Caprio's voice echoed across the room. You are sentenced to 40 years in federal prison. You will serve this sentence in full. No parole. No early release. Vanderbilt's face turned ghost white. His attorneys jumped to their feet, trying to object, but Caprio's voice cut through them like a blade. Furthermore, all of your personal assets are hereby seized and liquidated. Your homes. Your vehicles. Your boats. Your investment accounts. Everything. The proceeds will be placed into trusts for the estates of Thomas, Jennifer, Emma, Michael, and Daniel Morrison. Caprio continued without hesitation. Additionally, you are ordered to pay $20 million in compensatory and punitive damages to the Morrison family estates. This will be paid from the sale of your assets and from the assets of Prestige Maritime Group, which will be dissolved and its assets liquidated. He leaned forward. Your yacht broker license is permanently revoked. You will never work in maritime sales again. And finally, I am ordering the Federal Maritime Commission to investigate every yacht sale you have made in the past 10 years. Every buyer will be notified. Every yacht will be re-inspected. And any additional defects you concealed will result in additional criminal charges. Caprio paused, staring directly into Vanderbilt's eyes. You stood in this courtroom and said, "Buyer beware." You said, Dra. Morrison should have verified your documents. You said, boating is dangerous and accidents happen. And you showed no remorse for 5 deaths, only relief that you had liability waivers. His voice softened slightly, but only for a moment. Let me tell you about Thomas Morrison. He was a dentist. He worked for 30 years to save enough money to buy a yacht. He wasn't wealthy like you. He couldn't afford to lose $680,000 on a whim. That money represented decades of sacrifice. He trusted you because you presented yourself as a professional. He pointed toward the photographs. He trusted your survey report because you handed it to him as proof the yacht was safe. And you knowingly gave him a fake document, and sent him and his entire family to their deaths. Caprio's voice rose again. Jennifer Morrison was a high school art teacher. Emma Morrison was about to start medical school. Michael Morrison had just made his school's varsity soccer team. Daniel Morrison had never even kissed a girl. The courtroom remained frozen. They all died together, drowning in terror as the yacht you sold them broke apart beneath their feet. Caprio leaned forward, voice shaking with emotion. Dr. Morrison died clutching his youngest son. Can you even imagine that? Holding your 14-year-old child as you both drown, knowing you cannot save him, knowing you are both going to die. He slammed his palm on the bench. Can you imagine the terror Daniel felt, as his father held him and the ocean swallowed them both? Caprio stared at Vanderbilt with disgust. And while that family was drowning, you were drinking champagne in Cannes. You were posting Instagram stories about luxury and success. You were celebrating the commission you earned from their deaths. The courtroom was silent except for sobbing from the gallery. Caprio spoke slowly now, each word deliberate. Money can buy yachts. It can buy champagne in Cannes. It can buy Instagram photos with models and caviar. But it cannot buy your way out of prison, when your greed kills 5 people. He pointed again at the photographs. You said the ocean is dangerous. And yes, boating carries risks. But the Morrison family did not die from inherent risk. They died because you sold them a death trap, and falsified documents to hide it. Caprio's voice became firm. Absolute justice cannot have 2 standards. One for luxury yacht brokers, and one for families who trust them. He leaned forward, eyes locked on Vanderbilt. The courtroom is the great equalizer, Mr. Vanderbilt, and today, you learned that 5 human lives matter more than your commission. The courtroom erupted. Applause burst out from the gallery. Robert Morrison collapsed into his seat, crying uncontrollably. Family members held one another tightly. Even members of the prosecution team wiped tears from their faces. Christopher Vanderbilt sat motionless, his empire shattered, his name destroyed. His freedom gone for 40 years. If this story touched your heart, if you believe judges like Frank Caprio represent the best of our justice system, please support our new channel by subscribing and liking this video. Share it with someone who needs to hear that justice and compassion can coexist. Comment below with your city. Let's build a community that believes in fairness for all. Christopher Vanderbilt is currently serving his 40-year sentence at Coleman Federal Prison in Florida. His assets were liquidated, totaling $32 million after the sale of his properties, vehicles, and business interests. All proceeds were placed into the Morrison Family Trust's Prestige Maritime Group was permanently shut down. The Federal Maritime Commission investigation uncovered 47 additional instances of defects Vanderbilt had concealed or failed to disclose. 15 civil lawsuits were filed. All were settled. The Morrison family is gone. Thomas, Jennifer, Emma, Michael, and Daniel are buried together in a family plot in Atlanta. Their extended family visits every week, bringing flowers, speaking their names, telling them they are missed, telling them they are loved, telling Then justice was finally served. The case led to the Morrison Family Maritime Safety Act, federal legislation requiring independent verification of all marine survey reports, criminal penalties for falsified maritime documents, and mandatory disclosure of all known defects in yacht sales. The law passed unanimously. When Judge Caprio was asked why the sentence was so harsh, he answered simply, "Compassion isn't an exception to justice. It's the purpose." But compassion for victims requires accountability for those who murder them for profit. Mr. Vanderbilt chose money over lives. 40 years in prison is what that choice costs. The Morrison family will never take another vacation together, they will never celebrate another holiday, they will never see Emma become a doctor, they will never see Michael graduate high school, they will never see Daniel grow up, all because a yacht broker wanted to save $85,000 in repairs, so he could maximize his commission, and drink champagne in Cannes. But their story did something powerful.